Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Pop Culture Green Room. This is Blair Bryant.
And I'm Kimberly Bryant.
And today, this morning, we have joining us. We're really excited because we have a true powerhouse in the beauty industry. She's a makeup artist, an educator, entrepreneur, and author of the recently released The Makeup Artist of Design book. We have Dawn Maloney here with us this morning. Welcome, Dawn.
Hi, girls. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure and honor to be here to speak with you, girls, and your audience, your growing audience.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're excited to have you here because we've been so focused lately on beauty and everything. So this is perfect. And I mean, what other than we've got the founder of makeupclasses.com. So and then we're here to talk about your new book. So we're excited to get into it. And
Thank
I'll go ahead and I'll let Blair
you.
go ahead and take it from here.
Yeah. So the first thing I'd like to ask you is that can you tell us about your journey into the makeup world, and of makeup artistry and what got you there, and what sparked your interest?
Sure, sure. Well, it was really by default. I went to school for broadcasting at Montclair State College in the early 90s, and I became pregnant with my daughter. So I dropped out of school and I moved to Virginia. I'm an ex Navy wife, ex military. And
Okay.
I quickly realized in that relationship that I was going to be the one that had to support my daughter and find some type of path and career. So I didn't have a college degree, I just had a high school diploma. And I saw an ad in a local newspaper. That's when you'd open a paper and read it, and things weren't
Yeah.
right. A yellow
Right.
paper, right? We had phone book back then.
Oh,
And
I know.
there was an ad for a Glamour Shots. I don't know if they're still in business, but Glamour Shots was a photography studio that was in a
Yes.
mall. And it was the business model was designed to help women look beautiful and glamorous by getting their hair and makeup done in the studio. And then they would take headshots, photos, and they would sell the pictures, packages, preferably large packages, to the clients. So if you did a great job, if their hair and makeup looks good, the goal was that the person loved the way they looked, therefore they bought more photos. So I went in for the job interview, and I had done makeup and hair on my friends in broadcasting school. So that truly was my only experience with that. And I guess I don't know, they liked me, they wanted to give me a chance, and they hired me on the spot. I think I started like the
Nice.
next day or that weekend. But I knew within a few days. I mean, this is the real irony, and I really believe that when God puts something in your heart, and when you have that daydream, right,
Mhm.
should go for it. You should go.
For sure.
It sticks
Right.
with you. And I always say to my makeup students that when you don't follow your dreams, it becomes your worst nightmare. And I knew early on that that was something that I wanted to do. I remember I was a few days in, probably about 3 or 4 days in. Now, mind you, I was being paid $4.25 an hour.
Oh boy. Oh my gosh. See,
And
and
I,
it's so
I was
crazy because
so
you think
poor.
it's
I
like,
was
how
so
did you
broke.
survive?
I,
It's like,
well, assistance. So I know what that feels like to have government
yeah.
assistance in my life. And I said to myself, I was about 22 years old. I said, someday
Mhm.
I'm going to own a business like this. And wait, where did that idea come from?
Oh,
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you don't even know what you're doing, number one. And number two,
right.
you make
Uh-huh.
$4.25 before taxes. Okay. So Dawn, so we always have them on our
Mhm.
shoulders, right? The,
For sure. Yeah.
positive and then the negative, right? And it's like they're both
Right.
like competing against each other in our heads, right? So long story short, I
Uh-huh.
moved to New Jersey. I start working at a counter at the mall. It was freelancing. Oh, also, let me just back up. When I was working at Glamour Shots, I was there for a few months and I decided to get another job. So across the hallway, there was a Dillard's and I started working for the Lancome counter. And that was, I think, $6 an hour. Big financial jump. Right. So, but I was learning a lot. See, the one thing is when you have a dream, you have to be smart. You got to get smart. Even if you say to yourself, you know what, I'm not very smart, get smart. Read books, go to seminars, go to classes, learn from others. It's very, very important to start really focusing on your goals and dreams. So I got smart really quick because I had to take care of my daughter. So I moved back to New Jersey and I got a job working as a freelancer for a company called Club Monaco. And they're a fashion company. I think they still do clothing, but back then they started a makeup line, which was very exciting because I was the only freelancer for that counter in New Jersey at that Macy's. So it was a really great job. It was a huge jump. I think it was like 17 an hour. It was a huge jump in my finances. So I started meeting more people at the counters, learning. When I worked at Lancome, I learned a new word. It's called freelance. And I had no idea what that was all about. And I met a girl, she was a Mac artist. And she was explaining to me like, hey, you could actually, sorry about all the dinging. I thought I canceled it. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, you're fine. We don't hear anything.
Oh, good. Okay. So I started learning about what freelancing was. In fact, I had my very first wedding. I was, like I said, I was making $4.25 an hour. Then I was making $6 an hour. And someone had approached me at the counter and said, could you do my wedding? Now, I was a very fast makeup artist. Like I was starting to pick up my speed because that was a requirement when you worked for these companies. You have to work fast.
Okay, got it.
So I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to charge this bride $9 a person. And she had 4 people. And I could do 4 people in 2 hours. And I said to myself, wow, I just increased my hourly to $18 an hour. This is
that's true.
So I was hooked. I was hooked. Now, for makeup artists and people listening, they're like, $9 a person. That's crazy. But I didn't know anything about business. I didn't know how to charge. So I thought this was great. $18 an hour. What could be better, right? Coming from such a low wage.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So I moved back to New Jersey and I started working for Club Monaco. And I was really into fitness and health, and I was an avid exerciser. I still love fitness and health, and I work out as much as I can. One morning at a gym where my ex-husband was working, and he was a salesperson, and he just happened to have a conversation with a woman named Pat Ferrari. And Pat Ferrari was the therapist / social worker, person, character, whatever you want to call it, on the Sally Jesse Raphael show, which was an iconic show in the 90s. Yeah. And early, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Well, the story goes that they needed a makeup artist for their guests, so all of their guests, and would I be interested? So they called me off the stepper. I was all sweaty and gross. I said yes to the opportunity. I took the phone numbers down. I called. Back then in the 90s, there were no cell phones. You had a beeper, and I'll never forget.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I had a beeper. And I called, and I was in the grocery store because I had left a message. And I remember my daughter sitting in the front of the cart, her little legs dangling. She was about 2.5 at the time. And I got a beeper, a 212. I knew who it was. I literally scooped her up out of the cart, left the grocery store, went to a payphone and called, and they said, would you like to come in? And they said, bring your makeup kit. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I don't have a makeup kit, but what I have is like a little kit and caboodle. It was, products from Lancome, products that I had.
Right.
I wasn't sanitation. It was terrible. But I went in. They threw me to the lions. They said, go ahead, start doing some guests. So they trusted me. And I started working on the person. And I believe it was at the end of the day, my boss thought I did a great job. And then I believe he called me the next day or the day after and said, would you like the job? We would like to hire you. I was the youngest artist ever hired in the show's history. I was 23 years old. This is going back to 1998. And I stayed with that show for 4 years until it was canceled. So Sally had just done 19 years, just under 20. She was in big competition with Oprah. Phil Donahue, Montel Williams came out. I've worked with Phil Donahue, Montel Williams, Ricky Lake. I've freelanced for all different shows, but Sally was my full-time job. And then when that show was canceled in 2002, I worked for Maury Povich. I worked for him for 2 years. And then I had the privilege, and I say that with all humility, I was able to actually make choices in my career, and I was able to actually resign from that job. Now, my boss at the time, the executive producer, he said, Dawn, but we don't have anybody. Can you give us at least a month before we replace you? And I said, no problem. And I really was getting a little gutsy. I mean, I'm in like my mid-20s now, mid-20s. And I said, well, as long as you let me be on the makeover shows. So I was actually on TV.
Awesome.
And I did the before and after makeover shows. So that was really cool. And I had great bosses through the years. They were phenomenal. They trusted me. But here's the thing. This is how my career in education started. I didn't know what I was doing. And I really needed to keep my job because of my daughter. And I knew that I quickly had to figure things out. Now, mind you, I had gone to school for broadcasting, so I had lighting under my belt, but I didn't know makeup for lighting. No one had ever taught me that. To this day, it was something that I had to figure out. So through the years, I started experimenting with light and color, and I started to realize that color temperature causes a physical reaction with color, and it skews what the human eye sees. So fast forward to last November, I filed a patent. I have a patent pending. I'm the only makeup artist in the United States that has a patent pending for makeup for lighting, also anatomy, which we're going to talk about, my book.
Yeah, definitely. I want to get into that.
This is 230 pages just on facial anatomy. And then, of course, my patent has to do with AI, of course.
Yeah.
But that's how I got started in television and education. I started teaching in, I think it was 2000, 2001. I was teaching privately in 99 in my home, but my first studio, I think, was 2001. And then it took off. I started traveling all over the United States. That's why in 2002, I resigned from Maury Povich. And I had traveled to 30 something cities. I had trained over 1,000 makeup artists. I was sold out. I've had standing room onlys, and those are in person. I don't teach online yet. We're about to launch online training. But yeah, so it's been a very rewarding career. I could say that my mastery is in television makeup, photography. I've done a little bit of film, runway, a corporate video type of work, but my forte, 99% of my career is television and photography, photo shoots. So I love it. It's my life's work. The interesting thing is, like at the beginning of my story, I stumbled in it. It was the gift of desperation. And I think the most important thing to take away from my story, because my resume doesn't help your resume, and I'm speaking to makeup artists, is that when opportunity presents itself, take it. Even if you have a little bit of doubt, just believe, have faith, and take it. I'm getting a little weepy because,
Oh,
when I talk about my story, I get very emotional because it didn't have to be this way, right? It could have
right.
gone a different way if I listened to the negative voice. And I speak from such passion about what I do. And even if makeup artistry or hair is not your career, now, of course, I went back to school. I got my degree in
Mhm.
broadcasting.
Right.
I have a BA in broadcasting with a minor in women and gender studies. And I also have a New Jersey cosmetology license. So I went back and finished all of that. But my
Oh,
point
wow.
is, ladies, that when you have a goal and a dream, stick with it. Stick with it. It's hard. You're going to have
Mhm.
people tell you that you're not good enough, or what your dream isn't going to earn you money. Man, did I hear that.
Mhm.
I heard that.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I remember when I first opened my store in 2000, 2001, a client came in, and she's still a good client to this day. She walked in and she's like, "What is this?" And all I had was like a table and two little chairs from my apartment. And she said, "A store for just makeup? Are you sure that this is going to work out, Sephora, Ulta?"
Right.
Mhm. Right. Yeah, exactly.
So I was like,
Exactly.
what? Ahead of myself. But makeup is so huge. Back when I started, it really
Mhm.
wasn't that big of a thing. So I heard a lot of negativity, and very few people believed in me. But the most important person that believed in me was myself.
Yourself.
I knew I was onto something, and I know that I'm still onto something. So that's my story. I know it was a long story, but I
Oh,
gave
no.
every detail.
No, I
This was
loved that,
really
and it was so
actually
inspirational.
it is, because the funny thing is, it's like like, I mean, your interview couldn't have come at a better time, because this is actually the past week. Blair and I have actually been, all our conversations have been about this, have been about
Exactly.
focusing on dreams and what you want and the things that block you. And like, this is what we needed to hear, because that's
Oh,
basically what
absolutely.
we've been running into, especially Blair, like for a while now. And she just it's like she wants to just keep that vision. And us hearing your story, it's just like the whole time listening, I'm just like glued, and I'm like, this is what we need
Right.
to listen to, because you're living proof right here that, like, don't give up, and just to like keep that other outside
Exactly.
noise out, and just
And if I want to add one more thing to just kind of, im- you know, sound impressive.
You're
you
fine.
are.
I was homeless twice.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Twice.
And raising children.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, what an
That's like,
inspiration, and just what, like, I think so many people needed to hear your story and needed to hear this. And
Thank you.
I'm just grateful, because that means that the timing too is just impeccable. It's
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
Yeah,
God has a plan, right? God
he
always.
Absolutely.
does.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love and trusting in that.
Oh
Oh
my
wow.
goodness. Yeah. I'm
So you
sorry, I'm just blown away. I'm like,
Yeah.
thank
I'm
you.
like, this is really happening. It's like all like,
But there's so many stories like myself, entrepreneurs that start with nothing and they make
mhm.
something of themselves. And you have to believe. And you also have to connect with the right people. If
Right.
you're with
Sure.
the wrong person, and I could tell you about what it's like to be with the wrong person, my ex-husband, they can really
Mhm.
hurt and destroy you. But you have to pick up and you have to keep going. I'm also a survivor of domestic violence, and that's something that I just started speaking about. In fact, in the back of my book, I have the symbol of the purple
You
ribbon,
do have the purple.
Wow.
Yeah.
which is the symbol of strength with domestic violence. And the history of purple is because purple is the color of a bruise. So I
Mhm.
use that throughout my book. for a reason. That's why I chose purple. Plus, it's one of my favorite colors too. But
Oh,
um,
Oh, that's
yeah,
great.
so my point in sharing that with people finally, because it took me a really long time, it was a very dark secret in my life, is to be the example that you could get through this, you can survive, you can move on, you could have a productive life, you can enjoy your life, you can forgive yourself, you can move on. And I have a wonderful husband. My husband Jim, he's my business partner. We've been together 18 years now,
I
and
love it.
congratulations.
you could thank you, and you could find someone wonderful and start over and have a new life.
I love it. And it's so funny again because it speaks to me on another level because I am a survivor of DV, and also it was from it was someone that was in the military, not former Navy veteran. So it's kind of like, so I get that. And I use this also as a platform, but this is also my source of
Yes.
healing, was developing a podcast and just kind of like getting out there and everything. So,
I'm
oh,
sorry. I'm
that's
sorry that
incredible.
happened to you. I'm sorry that happened to you. And I just want you to know it was never your fault. It was never
Absolutely.
your fault.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Same. Oh, wow. But it's just, oh, wow. But the way everything's just come together.
Oh, for
And
sure.
so with all this like that happened and getting to where you are, what kept what kept you from straying away from your vision? Like what just
Oh,
like all the times that you wanted to like give up, like what just kind of like kept you focused?
goodness. I really believe that's a great question. I have always believed that I have I have something that will bring value to the industry. I believe that I am a very good educator. I convey my curriculum in a very methodical way. And I love seeing when my students have beautiful, fulfilling careers, make money, and they're happy and they're doing something very creative and that they love. And that was always my motivator. My children were always my motivator to provide for them, to take care of them. And quite frankly, it's just something that I've loved. I mean, like I said, when I first started working in that glamour shots, I remember where I was standing. I remember what I was looking at, and I said, someday I'm going to own a business like this. Of course, 10 seconds
Right.
later, I'm like, what? You can't even buy groceries. Like, are you crazy?
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I think faith is also very important. Now,
Mhm.
Kimberly, there are
I'm
so
listening.
many days, girl, that I want to give up. That
Mhm.
over the past 25 years, where I'm saying to myself, what could you possibly be thinking? Um,
Right.
the tears, the frustration, the exhaustion, the missing out.
Mhm.
Entrepreneurship can be very lonely. I'm really blessed that I
Right.
have my husband who he does everything. He's amazing. He's so supportive.
Yay.
And my kids too. And friends, I have a very small circle of friends. My best friend Karen, I can't live without her. She's my ride or die. She's also an entrepreneur. She's in skincare, so we work synergistically together. Our conversations are a lot of fun. She's also a very spiritual person, so we connect on that level too. Um, but you have to have a good network, and it doesn't have to be big. It could be really teeny tiny, like just the two of you. It's perfect, right? You're
Right.
best
Mhm.
friends, you work together, you support each other. You have to be your own cheerleader too. When the going gets
For
tough,
sure.
when people, scam you, rip you off, you think you got a sale, but you didn't. You just got to stand up, brush off, and keep going. I think the most successful people that I've found, because I've worked with a lot of celebrities, entrepreneurs, because I worked for Fox News for 13 years. So I was also on the
Mhm.
business channel, and I've met some really big, successful business owners. I think the key is the faster you could turn negativity around, the better you'll be, the more successful you'll be. If something bad happens and you sit on it and it goes on for days, it ruminates, it
Mhm.
marinates in your head. If it
That's
goes on
true.
for weeks, months, years, you're holding yourself back. I'm really good at getting over stuff. I'm really good at it. It's like one of my favorite podcasters is Andy Frisella. We should tag him on this. He has a book called Mental
I'm gonna write that
Toughness.
down.
Okay.
Yeah, Andy
Sounds
Frisella,
interesting. Yeah.
Mental Toughness. And he talks about that, being mentally tough. And it's hard. It's hard to be tough. I mean, I can be such a wimp. I can be so scared and have so much fear. But then I have to say, get over it. Get over yourself, move on, keep going. Who cares? You're not that important.
Right.
Let me remind myself that. And just keep going. Yeah, I hope that answers the question. So
Oh,
what
for sure.
That does. Oh my gosh. So that is super awesome. So let's get some more into your makeup and everything. So what was your what's your inspiration behind makeupclasses.com? Like what made you come up with the idea that, you know what, I want to go ahead and start this website and see where
yeah.
it goes? Like how did that come about?
When I started in education, there really wasn't many makeup instructors. There weren't many makeup schools. There were a few
Mhm.
peppered all over the country. And I thought to myself, what a great business to be in, to offer some type of structured, concrete curriculum. And I started developing my curriculum. It took several years. It's always a work in progress. But
Mhm.
I can I feel, I know, I can tell, I believe that I have one of the best curriculums in the United States, because I teach 50 face shapes, 36 lip combination, 32 eye. So that's
Mhm.
57,600 ways to do makeup. I
Wow.
also
Yeah.
teach
Amazing.
according to light. And I know, because I've looked at all the major curriculums and books, that no one teaches that either. Um, so I have different things within my class that are a deeper dive that other schools and training centers and teachers don't teach. And I get that feedback. That's not me creating that or boasting. That really is what my clients tell me, who have gone to other schools or have trained with other people. They're like, wow, you really have, you know, brought this down to a science. I believe that makeup artistry, hair also is a lot of, it's art, it's
Mhm.
science, and it's a lot of God, right?
Oh,
So
for sure.
um,
Right.
I believe that's the formula, and I've cracked the codes, and I believe in what I do. And I know it works because it worked for my career. Not, again,
Mhm.
I didn't know what I was doing. So I had to figure it out. So I started taking notes and drawing face shapes and studying other books and realizing, like, there's some truth to this, but not totally, because my face shape isn't in the book. So it can't be
Right.
right. That's
That's
the,
interesting.
the makeup for the lighting. And I just wanted to help people learn and have structure. My classes aren't about trends. It's
Mhm.
timeless because it's based on anatomy. And of course, I'm an entrepreneur. I like to run a business. I love to have employees. I love my employees. I want to treat them well, and I want them to have a great life also. So we have a very healthy workspace, and I love going to work every day. literally every day.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
I
amazing.
can imagine. So it's funny because I'm extra even more interested in this because Blair could even tell you, I'm an artist. I grew up as an artist. Well, before I got my degree in communications, I actually was an art education major for a little bit, but then I
Right.
realized that they were the first ones to get cut from the budget. But of course, up and after I graduated from college and just for a while without having like really a stable like career path because I got my degree, and at the time, it's kind of like, oh, well, you can't find anything unless you had an internship. So I
Mm,
started like it's more of like beauty and fashion, and was interested into like cosmetology school. But then I really was more interested in makeup, and I started doing makeup artistry. And then I took a weekend class in New Orleans once I got a certificate. But I was just so intimidated at the time. I just had no confidence when I went in there, and but it's like it just made me think that I didn't see it as until like when you said it it's like I had to look at it as like it's art, like you're doing like the face to canvas, and so I'm just excited about your book too because the fact that it's like it also reminds me of like one of those books that could be like on a coffee table, like a nice conversational piece, and it takes you back to like Kevin Aucoin had a book years ago that I had like with the makeup faces and images, and
yes.
it makes
Yeah.
you think of that. So it's exciting. It's
And
super
his
cool.
book is timeless, right? People
Oh, it
still
is.
love that book. And this, I believe, will be timeless too because it's based
Mhm.
on geometry. So, and
Right.
all the makeup and hair in the book is my work. I don't use stock photography. So it has really great glossaries to teach you
Wow.
shape, and the eye glossaries are my favorite. Um, it definitely is a labor of love when you do a book like this. So
Check that out.
every eye combination, there's 32 in the book. There's the eyeshadow and liner placement. So it's I appreciate that it's a coffee table book because you know what,
Oh,
I
you're
think it would
welcome.
be great. I know that I really market to makeup artists, but it's also for beauty enthusiasts. And how fun would it be
Right.
you had this in your
Mhm.
house and you're like, what eyes are you? What's your lateral position? What's your
That
shape?
see,
Right.
that's yeah, and that's where my head's going right now. Think about it, like, just like,
Yeah.
or maybe, like, girls get together for, like, a dinner night and it just
Yes.
and go over, just with your girlfriends, it's like, "Okay, look at your eye shape, look, let's do this," and just give yourselves, like, a makeover. You can have so much fun with that, like, my gears are just turning.
Yeah, it really is a lot of fun. And there's also in the back, besides the face, eye, and lip, there's pictures to color.
Oh,
So there are
wow.
Oh,
52
wow.
examples. So I have the breakdown like this person is triangle, small, square, wide set, small, downturn, dehydrated, small, thin, even. So then you would use this key and you would look back in the book and match it up. This way you can learn
Oh,
and
that's
master all of the combinations so you could work on anyone. And that was one of the reasons why I put the book together. Well, my daughter gave me the idea when she was little, and in the book it
Mhm.
tells you how
Oh, wow.
the idea came about. Yeah, I was at work one day and I had my son. He was little at the time, and
Mhm.
um, Noelle was she was, I don't know, 6 or 7. I forget how old she was.
Oh.
She was short.
Oh.
She's 5'10", but she was short then,
Right.
and her little legs are dangling. And I had to work, and I couldn't afford a babysitter sometimes, so my kids would come to work with me, and they'd come to different shows and
Yeah.
work with me. I dragged them everywhere.
Right.
If you're watching this, we're probably like, "Oh gosh, mom."
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
remember those days. But they're very, very supportive. So my daughter was sitting there and I said, Noelle, here are some faces. So I had like half face charts and full face charts that I would give to my students so they could map out designs on paper and kind of
Right.
understand, like premeditate their design before they do it on the face. So I said, here's a few, just sit and color while mommy does her office work. So time goes by and Noelle says, Mommy, look. And she holds up a bunch of them. And she is an artist by trade. My daughter
Oh,
is an
nice.
is an artist, and she holds them up and she says, "Look,
Uh-huh.
Mommy, like a coloring book."
Wow.
Wow. Light
That's
bulb.
so
That's
cool.
so cool.
I love it.
Ding, 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 ding.
All right.
And that's when I said, you know what? I need to put a book together for my students. So in 2003, I self-published this book, and then I had said a few years ago when well, actually, when I was working at Fox, I was working on this book and writing it. It took a long time because I was writing it little by little, and I had my day job. And
Right.
then finally, when I got laid off from Fox, I said, you know what? I'm going to redo this book and publish it for my students and for makeup artists worldwide. So, yeah, that's how it came. That's how it came about. So it's 25 years in the making, basically, you could say. I really took all of my notes and my thoughts and my process and put it in the book form so someone could read and learn. I did the work for you. You don't have to
Yeah.
figure it out. You could look at someone's eye anatomy, compare it to the book, know exactly how to place the shadow and the liner, because basically what we're doing is we're manipulating light and darkness, right?
That makes sense.
So
Right.
it's a manipulation of what to push back on the face, what to bring forward. But sometimes people don't know what to do. You have someone in the chair and you don't feel confident. You're like, I don't know. I don't know where to start. This is where to
Uh-huh.
start. This is how to work on anybody. And that was another reason why I put the book together. It was really selfish reasons too, why I started figuring out light and anatomy, because I wanted to keep my jobs. I wanted to do a good
Right.
job, but I also needed to boost my own confidence because I was my self-esteem was like this big, basically my whole
Mhm.
life. And then I get in this career working with celebrities and I'm still like this on the inside, but on the outside, I'm trying to
Uh-huh.
pull it all together, right? Um, yeah, so it was to help my self-esteem and my confidence in the craft. And then I thought, you know what, I could help someone else build their self-esteem and build their confidence.
Right.
So when they walk in a room full of strangers and they say do their makeup, you know exactly what to do.
That is so
Mhm.
inspiring.
And what
It's
I
very like
love,
very
that what you
inspiring.
just addressed,
What's that?
it really is. What I love what you just addressed was
Oh,
how, because that's how I would get, like, as a makeup artist when I was starting, like a independent independent freelance artist, whatever I was doing.
yeah,
To
yeah.
start with, it's like I didn't like on the face, it's kind of like you would get nervous and it's like where to start. And you just said it. It's kind of like the book explains it. Like if you get nervous to get it by, like where your starting point is. And I was there thinking, I was
Yeah.
like, a good marketing strategy is like, it's like this book is your starting point. Like you need this book to start. Cause I'm like, I need this to get myself to start to know where to guide myself for that. So that's what that made me think of.
Yeah, and it's also great for people that have been in the industry that don't know the 50 face shapes, 36 lip, 32 eye. And
Hmm.
it's great for the artist that's in the industry that just seems to do the same look on every single person. And we see that on social media, on
Uh-huh.
Instagram, especially. Sometimes I go on someone's account and I'm like, every single client has the same pattern that you're doing, the same colors. Everyone looks the same,
Hmm.
right? So this
Right.
allows you to be very creative. I always say that when I'm teaching my students, I teach you the rules so you can be professional. But now I want you to break the rules so you can be an artist. So
I love
once
that.
you
I
understand the
love that.
concrete fundamentals of anatomy, of lighting, this doesn't have anything about lighting in it. It's only anatomy, but my second book is being edited, which will have it has all the lighting concept as well as anatomy. But once you learn the rules, right, and you have that confidence and you know how to approach the person's face, their anatomy, now you can be creative. But you can explain why you're doing what you're doing. It's not hamada hamada
Mhm.
hamada. well, the influencer told me that this was the new look. No, you really
Right.
explain that this person is close set, deep set, down turned. So I'm going to lift up. I'm going to stop short, slightly upward. I'm going to use light reflective in the interior to bring it forward. I'm going to use a matte or flat color on the brow bone because her brow bone overextends her orbital cavity. Her liner should be halfway because she's close set, starting inward, lifting upward to correct the downturnness. Use white, silver, light reflective, light color on the bottom. Wow, don't I sound so smart? Just memorize the book.
Amazing. I love
So
it.
incredible. So, like, I mean, you just that like I mean, that's just like I mean, it's just so like I think it's I mean it's very cool and insightful that you have something like that to show for people to, have a guide to, get
It's an
into
amazing
and makeup
tool.
or people who are already doing makeup. And because I mean, I worked in a hair salon for a little bit, so I mean, I didn't do hair, but I worked like amongst hairstylists and makeup artists, and I was always really fascinated by the girls who did makeup and what they did because the fact that because it makes sense that there's so much skill behind it, and it's like it's literally an art, and then
Mhm.
it's also an art that can also impact other people's self-esteem for the better, which
Yes,
I
yes.
think is also
Mhm.
Or
incredible.
the worst, or the
That's
worst.
true. That's true too.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
For
if
sure.
you don't know what you're doing, you can actually hurt someone.
That's
Because
true.
they think, people will ask
Ooh.
me all the time, like, oh, what's my face? What's my eye combination? And I don't want to tell them because I need to explain it to them in a way that they understand why it is what it is.
Right.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because what happens is I've done this before. I tell people, well, your eye shape is your wide set, deep set, bulging. And the first thing they say is, well, is that good? Is that bad? What does that mean?
Right.
Right?
Mhm.
Am I ugly? No, we're all beautiful, right? We
Right.
all have different anatomical patterns because of DNA and biology. But if you're not coming from a place of education and teaching that person step by step, they're not going to understand what a wide set, deep set, bulging eye is. And they may think like that's not beautiful or that's not the
Mhm.
way I should look. Well, forget what marketing tells you beautiful is, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Work with what you have, right? Work with what you have. And that's your specific God given anatomy. 50 face shapes, 32 eye combinations, 36 lip, 57,600 ways to do makeup. Which one are you? Right? Which one are you?
Mhm.
You are special. And this teaches you how to help another person feel special, feel beautiful. There is no right or wrong in facial anatomy. There is no right or wrong. And if somebody's saying that, they're a liar. They're a liar. There is no
Mhm.
right or wrong.
That's
It's
an
just
excellent
who
perspective, and
you
there's
are.
so much truth to that. Like, I love that.
Yeah, it helps build people up, not break them down. Same thing
Right.
with hair. Ever have a bad haircut? Hello. I get so upset and depressed. I want to wear a hat. I'm angry. I'm frustrated. Then I start thinking, what the heck were they thinking? This looks terrible. I'm going to go back there and say something. Never did. But you can really hurt someone by giving them a
Yeah.
terrible haircut. Um, Not doing someone's makeup properly or speaking to them the wrong way could really hurt someone, especially young people. Especially young people. There's a lot of
Mhm.
comparison with social media now, right? A
Yeah.
lot of
You're right.
your you know plastic surgeries, injectables, things like that. Women, especially, and of course, men too, but I'm speaking mostly to women right now. Women are told that they need to improve, that they need to be better, right?
Yeah.
And that makes us feel bad. We're perfect the way we are. Now, if you want to improve and enhance yourself because that's your choice,
Mhm.
then that's your choice. But I don't need to be told by a stranger that I need to take off my wrinkles, right? Like
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
that's my choice, right? So there's a lot of marketing going on that's sending negative messages, especially to young girls.
Oh, absolutely. That's something that definitely needs to change. And so I mean, I think I love your message, and I feel like that. I mean, I think you're speaking the right kind of messages that people need to hear.
I
And I
agree.
absolutely love that, especially with there's so, like I said, so much, like exposure to social media, so many people cutting people down, and just like exposure to we haven't had before. But to just to take it back before we wrap it up, I did want to ask you too, is that like, so for anybody who's like an aspiring makeup artist, or people who either in it now or just kind of want to breathe new life into their makeup artistry career, or someone who is probably new to it, what's your biggest piece of advice to give them?
Oh, I think it's what I said earlier. Just believe in yourself, really. And
Right.
learn, just keep learning, stay humble. I'm always learning. I love listening to podcasts for business. I go to a lot of networking events. I still go to classes to learn from other makeup and hair people. I think that's really important. Believe in yourself and keep learning. Keep learning. You can never learn enough. And it's the one thing that no one can ever take away from you is your education. So
That's so true.
regardless if the house burns down, right? If your life is a dumpster fire,
Hmm.
Yes.
which
Oh
mine
yeah.
has been several times over my lifetime, I've been the
Oh
ultimate
yeah.
dumpster fire. That's the one thing they can't take away from you is your brain, your knowledge, your experiences. And focus on that. Focus on the wins, the good moments. And believe me, there's going to be, it's tough. It's hard. Business is really hard.
Hmm.
The beauty industry, especially, is saturated. Like I said, when I started, there was like
Right.
no makeup. My
Right.
client was like, a makeup store. What's this? Um,
Hmm.
Now, they're popping up all over. And with social media, you have a lot of, um, competition, but competition's good too, right? Because that
Sure.
shows
For
that
sure.
the industry is thriving, right? That a
Hmm.
lot there's interest. And it's the beauty industry is a consumption business, right? And I
Hmm.
don't condone overconsumption at all. I always say that if you're in the market for makeup,
Right.
come to my store and we'll help you purchase something. So we're not pushy salespeople. We don't want women to buy things that they really don't need or want. Um, but yeah, I would say my number one advice would be to believe in yourself and go for what you really want to go for. And while you're doing that, learn, learn, learn. And you have to invest in yourself. That's one thing I've learned in
Mm.
business is you've got to invest in you. If you don't, no one else will. If you
Yeah.
don't, you have to believe in yourself so much that you're willing to show me the money, right? You have to show that you're willing to invest in you, in your business, your craft before anyone else will invest in you. And you're going to have haters or people that don't believe in you or talk behind your back or whatever. Who cares,
Hmm.
really? At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter. It's how you feel about yourself and what you do.
Oh, absolutely. That was a wonderful way to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Dawn. And we're going to drop your links below so everyone can, follow you and check out makeupclasses.com, and also
I love
the
new
Makeup
friends.
Artist Design book.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Same here. Same here. Do you have any other like links or handles you'd like to drop before we wrap
Um,
up?
so everything is makeup classes related. So Instagram is makeup underscore classes underscore. Our YouTube channel, which is really geared for professionals and beauty enthusiasts too. And of course the website. You could find all of our products, the books, our classes, our events. And you'll see where I'm traveling all over the country to teach and give seminars, trade shows, and of course my 40-hour class. So I'm excited. I love meeting people. I love my artists. Yeah, it's great. So, and I'm very accessible. So if you want to call me, my number's everywhere.
Awesome.
If you want to email me, I'm a very transparent person. Anyone could contact me if you ever have any questions or you want advice. Absolutely. I'd be more than happy to share some time with you.
Sounds wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us in the pop culture green room. We truly appreciate it. We'll probably, I mean, I'd love to have you back in the future. Whatever
I know,
situation your
yeah,
next book
most
comes back.
definitely.
Yeah,
This is
no,
so
yes.
fun.
Thank you. Yeah, we could dive deeper into like makeup, what's, what's going on in the industry, not so much about me.
That'll be great. Yes.
Actually, I know this is hard to believe, but when I do podcasts and people ask me questions about who I am in my life, it really is the hardest thing for me to do. So this was a very hard interview because I don't like talking about myself. I love to talk about the industry and other people. Maybe we could even have
Sure.
guests on and I could give them advice and
That would be great. That sounds
Oh,
fun.
that would be
Absolutely, we could do
fun.
that.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh,
I love it.
we would love, oh my gosh,
We
we
would have
would
fun with
so
that for
love
sure.
that.
it
Oh,
would.
that would be
I
so
think that
fun.
would be more beneficial than me talking about my resume.
Oh no, but we love hearing
Like,
like
yeah,
your
such a
story because
fascinating
like we said,
backstory and
the
just
timing
journey.
was
And
so perfect. And it's just like this is like what we're also like kind of gearing into like also like transitioning to also with our own podcast is like we want to hear like more inspirational stories and like
right,
what is
exactly.
it that gets people to tick and just kind of drives them to
Yeah.
what direction that they went into. And like this is such an amazing story and it's I love it. That's how I'm like, oh no, like don't apologize for that at all. Like this is perfect. It was
I
great.
think it's important for people to hear stories like mine because it's hard right now, to find
Mhm.
jobs. Our economy is tough, and
Right.
people are desperate. They're having a really hard time. A lot of depression, mental illness, anguish. I get it. I've been through all of that, so I get it. And if I could help someone else and inspire them, then I did my job. Yeah, I
We
did.
love that. Love that so
Thank
much.
you.
Well, thank you so much, Dawn, for joining us. I don't want to keep you too long
Yeah,
since you have somewhere to
thank you.
go, but
Get
I
some
can't thank
hairspray.
you enough.
I need to get some hairspray. TMI. My hair flying all over. Well, I bring it all to work, and then I
Right.
go in my drawer. I'm like, I don't even have hairspray for myself. What kind of hairdresser doesn't have a bottle of hairspray?
Oh,
I
we're
get it
gonna
though,
see what happens.
that
Can't
is so funny. Oh my gosh. But you had me with the bangs when you were talking about the bangs. I actually cut my own bangs recently.
Nice.
Disaster. I was watching Love Island USA and got carried away and not thinking and just yeah, it's so they literally like they come to here right now and it's like how does I don't know, like I know better. I know better to never put like I never touch my own anything except for like my own makeup really, but I just I guess I was inspired. I don't know.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, we all make mistakes, right?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun. Oh my gosh. So don't forget everybody to follow, like, subscribe, share,
Right.
follow Dawn Maloney, check out her journey. And we're gonna wrap it up here. So thank you for joining us.
Thank
And
you.
don't forget, like I said, follow us. And we will be here. I'm Kimberly A. Bryant,
I'm Blair Bryant.
and we've got Dawn Maloney with us. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.